Hi, my name is Doug Dedman. I'm the president and principal of DBM Systems. Welcome back to our series on quantifying the benefits for S&OP. In this series, I'm exploring some of the hard benefits you should expect out of S&OP. The goal is to help you understand how S&OP can deliver these expected benefits and provide a way for you to calculate the ROI of implementing S&OP for your organization. If you haven't already, go back and watch the first video in this series. The link is provided below this video. In that video, I introduced how generally S&OP can be linked to these desired business outcomes. I also introduced an expected improvement table that comes from research by Tom Wallace, the author of the Sales and Operations Planning How-To Handbook. Based on this table and Tom's research, he provided high and low values for each of these benefits and an expected or middle outcome as well. I'll be using his data to kind of walk through some of the numbers for each of these benefits. Today, I'm going to look at the benefits to be derived from improved on-time delivery to customers, or in other words, improved service levels, as well as improving your lead times. What benefits should I expect from S&OP when it comes to improving these two areas? And how should I calculate these benefits? Tom's table for improving service level provides a range between 10 and 40%. Obviously, that's a big range, and if your current service level is at 98%, it's going to be really kind of hard to improve them by 40%. So I'm going to take a slightly different approach when doing this calculation. I will dive into the calculation in a little bit, but let's first of all start by looking at the relationship between service levels and S&OP, as well as how S&OP will help improve your service levels. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to combine this concept of improved service levels or on-time delivery with improving lead times as a single benefit. Really, it's the demand side benefit of the S&OP process. After going through this video, you may opt to look at these two as separate calculations depending on your situation. But to get you started, I'm thinking about the S&OP payback. I'm going to do them together. So we'll start with service levels. Service level measurements often include ones like the OTIF, on time in full, RDSL, request date service level, or PDSL, promise date service level. Doesn't matter which ones of these you use or if you have another one that you're using. Although I have put some material together regarding the difference between PDSL and RDSL, you might find interesting, and you can find that video link below this as well. But the point is, if you're wanting to improve service levels, you need to have a measurement. And really, three things about that measurement are important. Number one, make sure you know how it's calculated and everybody understands how it's calculated. Two, make sure you're consistent. And number three, be able to do it at the aggregate level and then also by S&OP family. If you have this measurement, it'll give you a good baseline of where you're starting, and then you can watch how S&OP will help you improve that. So how does S&OP do that? Well, first of all, S&OP breaks your business into product families. This level of granularity is manageable for tying actions and results when you're looking to improve. This is actually why you want to have the metric to be at the family level. Secondly, as part of defining your S&OP families, you should be defining the operating parameters for the family. These parameters include customer expected lead time. What is the market expected lead time? Is it the same for the whole family and all customers? What is your fulfillment strategy? Or is there a mix in the family? Quick ship, make to stock, and make to order items. What are your scheduling zones? What is your current target inventory level? All of these parameters are important. The first question for S&OP is, do you have them defined? If you do, are you operating to those parameters? If you aren't where you want to be on service levels, it might be that the parameters are correct, but you aren't executing to them. Or it may just be that they're not established or they are incorrect. Remember, the first step to improving something is always knowing where you're currently at. The third thing for S&OP that's important here is that S&OP should be where you measure your performance compared to your targets. This should happen monthly. If you're tracking to your targets, but not improving service levels, then you need to look at your targets. Monitor this regularly. So, talked about service levels. Now let's look at that second kind of major benefit, reducing lead times. This measurement is specifically relates to make-to-order or engineer-to-order business. Reducing lead times is about managing your backlog. The larger the backlog, the longer the lead time. It starts with establishing a realistic lead time for the product family and then monitoring the backlog compared to this lead time on a monthly basis. This should be part of your standard S&OP process. Establish target backlog levels to match to your desired lead time. To improve your lead times, you either need to increase your output or reduce your incoming orders. Both will have the impact of reducing your open backlog of orders, but obviously one is more desirable than the other. S&OP provides a view to manage bookings, shipments, backlog, and capability to achieve these objectives. So, now that you understand this, what's the payback of improving service levels or reducing lead time? The benefit should come in the form of increased sales or potentially increased margin on your sales. Lead times should be a competitive advantage in your marketplace. Improving them should yield more sales or more profitable sales. Depending on your market, however, you may just need to improve lead times in order to keep up with your competition. In this case, the benefit could be expressed as a risk avoidance in terms of not losing sales because you're not competing at the proper performance level. To calculate this return, you'll need some input from your sales team. Instead of working off the Tom Wallace table, as I mentioned before, I'm going to suggest a slightly different way of calculating this payback. So for service levels, here's what I like to do. Take your current service level. In my example company here, it's at 97.5%. My target is 99%. We're measuring this to our promise date. You know, you have to improve your promise date service level before you can improve your RDSL. So input from my sales team is that every half point improvement in service levels should result in about a 2% sales increase. Based on 100 million in sales, this overall 1.5% improvement in service levels should yield about 6 million in total sales. At a 40% gross margin, that would be a benefit of 3.6 million. It's a big benefit, and the obvious benefit here is actually setting that realistic target and driving to that and having S&OP drive the actions and then measure the results. Now, there may be a cost to improving service levels. It might require investment in inventory or upside flex capacity. If you're going to do a detailed analysis on the ROI, you should consider some of these cost offsets in order to get to the benefit. But this is a good place to start. The same calculation can be done for lead times. What is the expected sales increase per day or week of lead time reduction? Or what is the lost sale avoidance of doing this? Much like the service level calculation, you'll need input from your sales team to come up with some agreed on metrics and targets. Typically, I like to time phase these returns over 3 years as it takes time to implement the process. So I use this annual return of 20% in the first year, 80% in the second year, and 100% in the third year when the process is fully implemented. Hopefully this has given you an understanding of thinking about how service levels and lead times can impact benefit out of S&OP and how S&OP can deliver that. You should make these numbers your own and look for what percentages you want to do to calculate these savings. This single measurement may not be enough to justify S&OP for your organization, but hopefully combined with the other ones covered in our other videos, this will provide you a good starting point to quantify the returns that you can achieve through S&OP. Stay tuned for the next videos to dig further in to where else S&OP can bring significant results. Thanks for watching today's video. Subscribe to our channel for more on implementing S&OP. You can learn more about how DBM can take your process to the next level by visiting our website, www.dbmsys.com. Thank you and take care.